This podcast is brought to you by Penji. Penji is a creative subscription service that gives you access to pre-vetted, agency-trained creatives from all over the world. From graphic design to illustrations to social media management and web development, it's all included for one monthly price. It's time to say goodbye to the hassle of searching for top-notch creative talent. With Penji, you get quality and consistency delivered right to your inbox every day, carefully crafted for you by humans. So meet your new creative team today. Head over to penji.co for more and enter the coupon code located within the podcast show notes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fully Managed Podcast. This is the podcast where we discuss marketing tips, business tips, and so many other cool things to help assist you in your business journeys. I'm your host, Daniela, and I'm Penji's Partnership Coordinator. And today I'm joined with a very special guest, Nikki DeSantis. Hi, Nikki. How are you?
Hi, good. Thanks for having me, Danielle. I'm super excited to be here.
I'm very excited to have you here today. We spoke before filming, obviously, but it's really great to actually be here on the day and talk about all of the things that you could help us with. So to break the ice a little bit and get everything started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do?
For sure, absolutely. So I'm currently the marketing director at a company called Resmark. We are a digital marketing agency just for tour operators. And currently in my role, I handle all things marketing. So whether that is email campaigns, social media, paid ads, the website, SEO, kind of the whole everything regarding marketing is my responsibility. And I also manage our fulfillment team. And then prior to that, I worked for a marketing agency that was specific to roofing contractors. And I did a very similar role, but for a roofing marketing company. And then we got sold, and then that brought me into this position. So yeah, I love all things marketing. I'm really passionate about it because it is a huge driver of, the success of the company. So everybody kind of relies on marketing to, get the ball rolling, get those inbound leads coming. So yeah.
Amazing. And so how long have you been at Resmark for the time, like as of today, which is we're filming on in January for viewers in case this thing comes out later on.
Yeah, as of January, I've been here for exactly a year. So I was previously a marketing director of a company called Roofer Marketers, and I was with them for about 4.5 years until we got acquired by a larger software company. So I've been kind of in that marketing director role for 5 years total. And then before that, I was more of just marketing assistant, marketing manager, and that sort of thing.
You were kind of growing into the role.
Yeah, and I love it. And I'm managing a team, and it's incredible being, kind of overseeing all aspects of marketing. I think when we get to kind of this level of, managing different, parts of marketing, you specifically can't be good at everything. You can't be an expert in SEO and content writing and being able to do social media and managing the website. You can't do it all. So it's really good to have a team under you that's, doing these things and helping, with the full success of the marketing. So
I actually wanted to ask you about this because I feel like, my career has been kind of in marketing. I think my degree is actually not in marketing. It's not in business at all. It just kind of happened. I got a job and then all of these jobs, like I kept getting more jobs and it was all in marketing and just kind of like spiraled.
yeah.
And I learned a lot from working. But I could tell, there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know about because my degree was in international relations and like political science. So completely different. I was learning about, politics and I was learning a lot of terms and things for marketing, right? And I think one of the biggest things that has stayed with me, which I have noticed, is like adding value. I think everywhere that I've worked in marketing, they always have that, you need to like add value with your marketing efforts. You need to add value. And I think at first it sounded really broad to me and really vague. I guess that's the word of what does that even mean? Like
Yep.
add value. That's so not specific. You could add value in so many different ways. And I think it's such a big term for the marketing world. As I sort of continued working in it, I kind of understood what people meant, but I want to hear your take on this because I think it's like such a huge thing for good marketing campaigns. And I think it's also just so difficult to grasp when you are a person that's not in the space.
I think too, when we say, you have to add value, you have to provide value. Sometimes, especially if you're a small business owner, you're just trying to think, what is going to get me revenue quick? You're trying to think, you're not thinking long term, but that is the approach we need. We need to think long term. So first, when you want to try to add value, you need to know who you're speaking to. Who is your ideal customer and what do they want? What do they need? And kind of go off of that, and whether that's asking them directly or finding market researchers or really just understanding them and what is it they're needing in their business and how can you help them do that, whether that's even with your service or outside of your service, adding that value, whether that's through trainings or podcasts or emails. You can't constantly just sell. I think Gary Vaynerchuk kind of coined that, jab, jab, right hook. You need to do more, educating and then getting people to trust you, build that authority with the value and the amount of education that you're providing to your audience, the right audience. You're going to be able to get them to trust you. And that is going to be tenfold. That's going to help you sell so much easier in the long run. So value is so important, providing the right value to them. What do they need in their business? So, or what do they need in their lives?
And how would you actually help people understand this when, you're coming at a small business owner or a person who is, just I've spoken to a lot of people who tell me that their biggest struggle is always marketing a product because they might be really good at product, right? Like a person who starts a business, they're just, I don't know, they're like, I love making candles and I want to sell my candles. And that's that. Like, it's that simple. But then it's not that simple when you actually set it up. And for business owners who have to sort of figure out a lot of different aspects of their business, that is not just like the product development side, which I think a lot of people fall into, like, they just want to focus on their service and their product. Um, and now have to sort of navigate all of these things with marketing. And like you said, marketing is hugely important to push sales and lead generation and things like that. What would be your advice for someone who is very new to that and trying to get a business off the ground?
Yeah. So it's kind of hard if you're a one-man show, especially. So there's a difference between if you have money to invest in a small team and some of the resources to help you, that's one thing. But if you're kind of a one-man show or one-woman show and you're trying, boots on the ground, you're trying hard and you can't do it all. So think of the things that one, you enjoy, and two, what can you do to fill your time with that low-hanging fruit that, is going to help in some sort of, in the long run, it's going to help in some sort of way. And then add to it. So as you're doing these things, let's just say, you're like what you said, Daniela, you're really focused on the product and you're really focused on, let's say, things outside of marketing. Well, what is one thing within marketing that you can start to implement and start to do? Get that off the ground, have some sort of consistency, maybe automation in place so that that's running. And then a month later, add something else, then add something else. So that's what I would do if I was kind of that one woman show. But if I did have some, money to invest, and I do think it's an important thing, to hire the right people to help you grow, if that's kind of your outlook that you want to do, hire those people that are going to do the job you don't want to do. You don't want to post on social media, but you know the importance of it. Go hire somebody to do it. There are so many platforms out there these days. Penji is a great opportunity for those people who they don't have a graphic design background, but they could hire companies, you guys, right? And, or there's other platforms for doing different things outside of graphic design that you could easily, quickly hire labor at an affordable cost, whether that's for blog writing or helping just build out that foundation email campaign that you need to get the ball rolling. So hopefully that answers that was long-winded there.
No, it totally makes sense. I like to ask this question because I think it's really interesting for, I think my perspective is just how I sort of learned to navigate all of this as I was working. And I think it's a very similar experience for a lot of people who are, sort of jumping into the business world when they have to do that.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I think even if you are in like a different type of organization that's not a business, you still have to worry about sales and marketing. It's just different terminology sometimes, but it's still when you boil it down to it, yeah.
And some tough love there, learn to love it because that's what's going to get you that sales. So learn to love marketing. Yeah. And
No,
it's going to be
you can't get rid of it.
the other thing too is part of marketing is creating a brand, right? And if you could really get behind that brand, you have a mission that you're behind, you have those core values and that vision, you have a really cool logo and those colors, you should love it. That brand is portraying the company you've created and that you aspire it to be. So create a brand that you want the perception that you see in your head, like you want your ideal target audience to see that, brand. So that should make you love it. That should make you want to like get excited and, fly more.
It's not wavy, right? I think if I had a business, I would be really passionate about, like, I would want to be really passionate about my business. I wouldn't want to be a business owner of something that I don't care about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or
Because
that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I also wanted to ask you, I guess this is a little bit unrelated to what we've been talking about, but with social media and AI, I think these two things I wanted to bring into the table. They're two different, I guess, realms that are changing or have been changing the way that marketing works a lot lately, right? I think social media's been around for a lot longer, but it still is just, I mean, I think about marketing back in like when I was a child, for example, and it was so different than the way that people are doing marketing right now, because of social media. And then with AI being all the rage, I also think that we see like another wave of changes coming because AI is also affecting every industry in a lot of different ways. With changes like this that are looming and constantly happening, what is your advice for people who are trying to just understand? I think a lot of people don't even understand the nature of social media. And then they have to like go in and actually start posting stuff for their business, right? Right. Whether or not you want to be a part of social media, if you're a business owner, I would argue you have to have social platforms nowadays. It's not,
I did.
yeah.
For one of those weird and not weird, but unless you're in an industry where none of your competitors are on social media and, you don't have to have as much importance, social media is one of those things most companies are going to need it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But to piggyback off of what you're saying, and kind of with AI, so social media, it's changing so fast. And whether or not we're able to use TikTok or not, and, by the time this gets released, I don't know the answers to everything. But one, get on social media, get on all the platforms you see your ideal customer. So if they're on TikTok, if they're on Instagram, if they're on YouTube, get on those channels. But when you're posting content, make sure it's valuable to them. Don't just post quantity. Don't just post 8 times a day because it's going to, increase brand impression. That used to be the way we posted on social media, but not so much anymore. Now it's just providing content, getting people to actually stick and view your post, view the comments, and then to kind of turn that in with, what we're doing with AI. So kind of in my role right now, I don't use AI too much for social media other than helping me with ideas or creating captions or creating some funky like images,
Yeah.
But I do, one, become a prompt engineer. That's going to be really important. Learn to utilize AI to make things a lot more efficient. Even if the output, make sure the output that you're getting from AI still is your brand and your voice. It needs to portray that it's coming from you. So use it, but just be smart how you're using AI. It needs to still sound like it's coming from you and, keeping the brand tone, voice, that sort of thing, message. It's really important. And also you could train AI to know your brand. So your brand voice, your message, your mission, and just kind of have that, create a chat GPT around that and then just use that over and over again.
Yeah, no, ChatGPT is, I think my life savior. I don't know how I lived without it. Um, I
For sure.
I've used ChatGPT for texting a guy that I'm dating, like, because I don't know what I could text him. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that happened like a while back. Like, I was going on a couple dates with this man, and like, he sent me a message, and I didn't know what to reply, and I just go on ChatGPT and be like, tell me a quirky thing to say.
And ChatGPT is my best friend. So a big part of my job is managing the content that not only goes on our brand sites, but also our client site, in terms of like blog content and whatnot. So of course, like I'll do the, I'll write the blog initially. So I do a lot of research. We go pretty in depth with our blog and interlinking and all of that stuff. But ChatGPT completely changes my grammar, and I'm like, please make this sound legible because
No, it helps with like, I think, removing the idea of like a blank slate, right? Like, you're just staring at a piece of paper. I think ChatGPT can really help you when you're like there.
you have to give it though. And mine's a him. I don't know why, but yeah, again, him. My friend Dan. You have to give him, you have to give him enough prompts, and don't get frustrated if you're not getting the output you want. Just feed it more information. The more information it knows, the better the prompts, the better the output's going to be and whatnot. So
Yeah. Well, I actually wanted to sort of stay with that social media train. I mean, I think we do see a lot of brands attempting to show up on social media. I think every time I'm scrolling on any platform, I'll get not necessarily ads, but just videos from brands, right? Like, I think video content is also really big. So we're seeing a lot of brands trying to show up in that platform, that sort of, like, short form thing that has been all the rage. Um, but do you think that every single brand should show up in the same way? I'm asking because I think I've noticed a trend of brands trying to be like funny and quirky nowadays. Even if their audience or their product is a very serious thing. Like,
yeah,
I've seen a lot of brands trying to like make jokes and memes and appealing to a younger audience, right? I saw for like a CRM, this brand was a CRM, I was thinking like, people who use CRMs are not college students. Or so I didn't understand why they were doing like TikTok dances and trends, because in my head, my logic tells me like, well, you're not gonna get anybody to actually convert to a sale because you're just making viral content, right? But I don't know what that brand strategy is, so I don't want to like burn them. But I want to hear your take on that, because I think it's like a trend where we see that happening a lot.
yeah. I think number one, know your audience. What does your audience want to see? If you can get behind who your audience is and understand what they like, that's the number one, thing. And two, be authentic. So anything that you're posting needs to be authentic to your brand and the perception you want your audience to see on your brand. So if you think about it, so my previous company was a roofing marketing agency. Roofing contractors are typically, not always, but typically male between the ages of, 30 to 50. Those are mostly 35 to 50 roofing contractors. They're typically not going to probably enjoy a TikTok trending dance that actually might aggravate them. Rather, they might want to see something else that you're posting, such as valuable content, like to show your expertise. So if I was explaining something about a roof, even though I'm not a roofing contractor, I'm a agency for roofing marketing, to show that I know my stuff. I know what I'm talking about to you, so you should trust me. So it just depends on your audience for sure. Because so many people are on social media, and yeah, a huge portion of them are, I don't even know the generations these days, Gen Z, I don't even know. No, but not all are. Not all are, so you got to think, who is your audience? What do they want to see? Do they want to see cringy, funny memes? Are they going to enjoy that? Maybe, maybe not. I think for the majority of funny stuff does typically work. You can't always have that kind of content that's not your audience. Sometimes it's an audience that just wants to be educated and learn. So
It looks like it depends on the humor. Because I think like I spoke about this the other day. I don't know if you're familiar with the Nutter Butter TikTok account. So unhinged. And I was thinking, like, I guess Nutter Butter has like the privilege of doing whatever they want because they're so big. But obviously, that type of ad is only going to work for an audience that is online and understands why they're doing something like that. It's really specific, right? Because if you actually wanted to learn about the product, which is, the cookie, the bar, like the Nutter Butter, you would need to have like a different type of video. Cause I was thinking, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, I mean, this is so hyper specific to a very specific group of people.
right. That's exactly it. And actually, like in marketing, you could have, so we always talk about like your ideal customer. You could have niches within your ideal customer. So, for example, as a tour marketing agency, our ideal customers can be multi-day tours. And that is one audience I'm speaking to. Multi-day tour operators uh, have different desires, interests, likes than, a day hiking company or a zip line company or a rafting company, or they're going to have totally different likes than a wine tour company. So you got to think about it like you could have different categories within your ICP, and you could tailor content to them. And with social media, it's kind of like one big, portfolio of content, and you could push content. You could put some ad spend behind the right content to the right audience. And for your emails, you could put the right emails to the right audience, and that sort of thing. But social media is a little bit more difficult because you can't do that unless you did different, social accounts and stuff. So I'd say a mix. Some of your audience is going to enjoy those funny, Nutter Butter type, videos. Or Oscar Mayer has a great channel too. Enjoy and do that, but also cater to some of those other audiences that aren't going to enjoy that as much.
I It's just also because a lot of small businesses want to do what big businesses are doing. Um,
Yes.
but I like my take on that is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like, of course, Nutter Butter could do stuff like that and Duolingo and like, Ryanair, which are like the ones that come to mind right now that are like really popular on social media and do really crazy type of content. And I like to myself, I think, well, yeah, because they're not really looking for anything other than exposure at this point. I think their brands are
Yep.
so established that you're not needing to be educated on what Duolingo is or what a Nutter Butter is. I mean, so they can do whatever they want. They just want to be at the forefront of a person's mind so that then you're like, oh, maybe I'll go buy a Nutter Butter.
Yeah, when I'm hungry, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Yeah.
And it's so different from like a small business who is actually trying to get their name out there and for people to understand what the product or the service that they're trying to sell is, right? I think
And
that's such a different goal.
exactly. And it's at the point where, like you said, with those larger companies, the consumer's already educated. They've been educated over the years. Their mom has educated, their grandma has educated them. It's been, the story has been told. With those newer companies, the story hasn't been told, but you get to create that story. I actually see some agencies, because I'm in a mastermind for agencies. And there's a couple agencies that just have a really cool brand, and part of their mission is, I don't even know how you'd say it, but their company culture, I'd say, is more unhinged. I think in their mission statement there might be a swear word, and it's just very like raw, and they're not afraid to show who they are. And that's how they portray on social media and to their clients. And I think there is nothing wrong with that as long as you own up to that. You own up to that rawness and like, yeah, I'm going to throw an F-bomb here or I'm going to do that. Now, I'm not saying I agree with that. Like but that is the brand they want people to see because their customer that they want enjoys them. Their customer that they want doesn't get offended. Like that's kind of the brand perception that they're trying to, convey.
At the end of the day, I think what's important is that you're not doing F-bombs to a customer base that is Catholic, right?
Exactly. Well, I've seen those crazy marketing fails, and it's just like, it makes you think, oh my gosh, and it's because they didn't know their audience. It is so important to know who your audience is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's just you see these things being successful for other people, so you think like, oh, that's the thing, that's the train I gotta jump on. And I think like it's more just every brand and every person and every situation is different. Because I also think budget wise, it's not sustainable to be posting 5 or 6 TikToks a day. You need a social media manager to be doing that. And if you
Exactly.
are a solopreneur or a person who's just starting, I would actually say like, don't do that. You're gonna waste so much time, and it's not probably gonna get you where you wanted to get.
Especially, when you're that one woman show or you're a solopreneur and you don't have the, resources to invest in people. You got to do what's going to move the needle. You still got to think long term. And you got to put your eggs in the right basket. But still have like that growth mindset of, if I invest in my SEO foundation, like over time, it's going to help me. But you do got to, catch on to that low hanging fruit and not waste your time because your time is precious. So.
And your knowledge, because nobody knows the product more than the business owner, right?
Exactly.
Now, Nikki, you've been so great today. We're almost out of time. But before we finish, I do have a little game prepared for us. I like to do this with all of my guests. So I'm going to set up a timer. I'm going to explain the game to you. I want to set up a timer of 1 minute. And in that minute, I want to do like a rapid fire of 20 questions. I ask the same questions to everybody and I see who can my goal is to have someone get through 20 questions in 1 minute. And to pressure you, nobody can do it.
I got it.
Nobody has won. So if you win, I will be very happy. I will have one person that I can say they did it. If not, you will be on my list of losers.
Can I skip and come back? If I don't know.
You can pass. Or you can lie. I think that's my tip. If you don't know the answer, just lie. Just say whatever.
Whole video, do not be authentic. Lie, guys. Be authentic. Just in this scenario, we'll see what happens.
In this scenario, say whatever so that you can get to the next question.
I'm ready, Daniela.
All right, I'm gonna start. In 3, 2, 1. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Favorite social media platform?
Instagram.
Go-to karaoke song?
Jesus Take the Wheel.
Books or podcasts?
Podcast.
One word that describes you?
Silly.
Dream vacation destination?
Africa.
Most used app on your phone?
Instagram.
Favorite emoji?
The cute face.
A hidden talent?
Running.
Go-to comfort food?
Spaghetti.
Superpowers you want for a day?
Invisibility.
Who inspires you the most?
My dad.
Guilty pleasure?
Long. Did I get to?
You got 13, which is not. I actually, for a second, I thought you were going to do all 20, but you got stuck with the guilty pleasure.
Yeah, I've never thought of the answers to some of those. So, yeah. Sometimes I don't think before I speak, and it being that this is going to an audience, I don't think before I speak.
No, don't worry. Did you lie in any of them at the end? Like, is your hidden talent running?
What? I'm a runner, but I don't think that's a talent. I'm just kidding. And Jenny's real I said that. It was the only song, right? Listened to it earlier. I'm never saying that at karaoke. I would be.
It made me laugh when you said, Jesus, take the wheel. And I was wondering, like, is this real or did she take my advice and lie? That's what I wanted to ask.
That's what I possibly assumed.
But do not take my advice for the viewers and don't do that. That was just for this game.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this today, Nikki. Before we finish, last thing, I want to give you the space to promote anything that you want to promote, plug anything. If you're looking for employees, if you're looking for collaborations, if you're looking for customers, the floor is yours to tell anybody where they can go.
Awesome, guys. Well, if you're a tour operator, I could help you with your website or SEO. And if you are looking for a job, I'm always looking for talented web designers, SEO specialists. And yeah, if you want to follow me, I have an Instagram account where I try to give marketing advice. It's no plug to any company or anything. It's just myself trying to be an influencer one day. It's at THE.Nikki D, I think. And by Nikki D, it's NIKKIDEE. I think that is. Let me just check. Yeah, Nikki D. Yeah. So
Awesome. Yeah, I'd be adding links to the description of this so that anybody watching can go and easily access this. So, rest assured that if anything resonated, they'll be sent there. And thank you so much for doing this today.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for having me, Daniela, and we'll hopefully talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for being here, and I'll talk to you guys on the next episode.
You've been listening to Fully Managed, brought to you by Penji. Check out the show notes to learn more about today's guest, and to learn more about Penji, the human-first creative subscription service, head over to penji.co. And by the way, if you're still listening, it would mean the absolute world to us if you were to share this podcast with a friend, and of course, subscribe.